The shuttle landed with a soft thud on the metal platform. Park grabbed his single bag and stepped out into the cold air of the Galactic Military Academy. The massive building stretched toward the sky like silver fingers. Thousands of alien cadets walked across the grounds, their strange bodies moving in ways that made feel very small and very alone. He was 19 years old. He came from a small town near the mountains of Korea on Earth. His body was lean and average in height. Nothing about him looked special or dangerous. He kept his eyes down and walked toward the registration building, holding his bag close to his chest. Inside the bag, wrapped in soft cloth, was a metal lunchbox. It was old and scratched, but he treated it like gold. The registration officer was a tall creature with blue skin and 4 eyes. She looked at its documents and made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Human," she said, typing something into her computer. "Third one this year. Building 7, room 42. Try not to get killed." Nodded and took his room key. He did not ask what she meant. Building 7 was old and far from the main campus. The walls were and the lights flickered. Found room 42 and opened the door. Inside, a small reptilian creature sat on one of the 2 beds. It had green scales, big yellow eyes, and a tail that twitched nervously. "Oh," the creature said, jumping up. "You must be my roommate. I am Pip. I am from the system. Very small planet, very peaceful, not like here." Bowed slightly. "Park, Earth, Korea." Pip tilted his head. "Korea, is that a planet?" "A country on Earth." "Ah, humans have many countries, yes. Very confusing. You all look the same to us." Pip stopped and covered his mouth with his small claws. "Sorry, that was rude. I am nervous. This place makes me nervous." Almost smiled. "It is okay. We think the same about other species." He set his bag on the empty bed and carefully took out the metal lunchbox. He placed it on the small desk next to his pillow. Pip watched with curious eyes. "What is that?" "A lunchbox from my grandmother." "Is she here on the station?" Paused. "No, she died 2 years ago." Pip's tail stopped twitching. "I am sorry, you carry it from memory." "Yes, and because I still use it. She taught me to cook before she passed. I make her recipes." Pip nodded slowly, seeming to understand that this was important. He did not ask more questions about it. That night Pip told about the academy. The classes were hard. The instructors were harder. But the real danger was not the teachers or the training. The real danger was other cadets. "There is a group," Pip whispered, even though they were alone. "They call themselves the 5 Pillars, 5 cadets from 5 powerful species. They control the dormitories. They take what they want. They hurt who they want. The teachers do not stop them because their families have power." "What species?" asked. Pip counted on his claws. "Is the leader. He is very big, very strong. His people are warriors. Then there are the twins, and they have 4 arms each and armor on their skin. Nothing can hurt them. She is fast like light and has poison in her claws. And he attacks with his mind. He can make you see nightmares while you are awake." Listened quietly. "They do not like weak species," Pip continued. "And they really do not like humans. They say humans are too young, too soft. They say humans do not belong in the military." "What do you think?" asked. Pip looked at him with his big yellow eyes. "I think you seem nice. I hope they leave you alone." The next morning went to the mess hall for breakfast. The room was huge, filled with hundreds of aliens eating strange foods. The noise was incredible. Found a small table in the corner and sat alone with his grandmother's lunchbox. Inside was rice and vegetables and a little meat, cooked the way she had taught him. He ate slowly, remembering her hands showing him how to cut, how to season, how to be patient. He did not notice the shadows falling over his table until it was too late. 5 figures stood around him. The biggest one was at least 3 meters tall, with skin like stone and arms thick as tree trunks. His eyes were small and cruel. This was. "Look," said his voice deep like thunder. A new pet from Earth. The others laughed. The twins cracked their 4 knuckles each. The fast one smiled with too many teeth. The telepath simply stared with empty black eyes. Kept eating. Did you hear me, human? Leaned closer. I said you are a pet, a soft little animal that does not belong here. Swallowed his food. He looked up at calmly. I heard you. And nothing to say. No. Sci twitched. He was not used to being ignored. He grabbed the edge of his table and squeezed until the metal bent under his fingers. You will learn respect, human, one way or another. Then they left, laughing and shoving other cadets out of their way. Pip appeared from behind a pillar, shaking. Are you crazy? Why did you not bow? Why did you not apologize? Closed his lunchbox gently. My grandmother taught me that empty words have no meaning. I will not apologize for existing. They will hurt you. Stood and picked up his lunchbox. His face was calm, but something cold moved behind his eyes. Maybe, he said quietly, or maybe they will learn why humans survived 10,000 years of war. He walked away, leaving Pip standing in the mess hall with his mouth open. 3 weeks passed at the academy, attended his classes, completed his training, and ate his meals alone. He did not make friends except for Pip, who followed him like a worried shadow. He did not speak unless spoken to. He did not complain. But the 5 pillars did not forget him. It started small. One morning, opened his locker to find his training uniform torn into pieces. The next day, someone scratched words into his door. The words were in an alien language, but Pip told him what they meant. They were not kind. His equipment went missing before combat class. His data tablet was broken. Someone put dead insects in his bed. Cleaned everything up without a word. He borrowed equipment from Pip. He requested a new tablet from the supply office. He washed his sheets and went to sleep. Why do you not report them? Pip asked one night. The instructors must do something. The instructors know, said. They do nothing because father is a general and come from a mining clan that supplies half the fleet. His mother sits on the academy board. People are allies, everyone wants to keep happy. Then what can you do? Looked at his grandmother's lunchbox on the desk. I wait. Wait for what? For them to go too far, then I will have no choice, and choices will be made. Pip did not understand, but he stopped asking. On the 4th week, met Sarah. She was the 2nd human cadet he had seen at the academy. She was a year older than him, with short black hair and sharp eyes. She was training to be a combat medic, which meant she learned how to heal wounds, but also how to make them. She found eating lunch alone and sat across from him without asking permission. You are Park, she said, the human who does not talk. I talk. Not much. She opened her own lunch container. It was full of food from Earth. I heard about what the 5 pillars are doing to you. I also heard you do nothing about it. I am patient. Patient? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Brother, there is a difference between patience and being a doormat. Looked at her. My grandmother taught me that a river does not fight a rock. The river goes around the rock, and in time, the river wears the rock to nothing. Pretty words, but you are not a river. You are a human, and those aliens see your patience as weakness. They will keep pushing until they break you or kill you. Then let them push. Sora stared at him for a long moment, then she shook her head. You are strange, but I like you, so I will give you advice. When they finally cross the line, do not hold back. Show them what humans really are. Show them why our ancestors conquered Earth with nothing but sticks and anger. Can you do that? Did not answer, but something flickered in his eyes. Sora smiled. Good, I will be ready to fix whatever you break. The very next day, the 5 pillars found in the hallway after training stood in front of him, blocking the way. The twins flanked the sides, was behind him, her claws clicking against the wall, hung back, watching with his dark eyes. Human said, I am bored, and when I am bored I like to play games. Said nothing. Here is a game. You get on your knees and bark like the earth animal called a dog. Do that, and we let you go. No. His face twisted. No, did you say no to me? My hearing is fine, I said no. Laughed, he has courage for something so small. Cracked his neck. Courage or stupidity, hard to tell with humans. Stepped closer until his massive body blocked all the light. You think you are special. You think your species matters. Humans are insects. You crawled out of mud while our people were building empires. You have nothing. You are nothing. Looked up at the giant alien. His face was calm. His voice was soft. My grandmother survived a war when she was a child. She ate tree bark to live. She watched her family die. She walked 200 kilometers through snow with broken shoes, and she never stopped. She never gave up. She lived for 91 years and died peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by people who loved her. He paused. Your empire is very impressive, but my grandmother was stronger than you will ever be, and she taught me everything she knew. Silence filled the hallway. Then laughed. It was an ugly sound. Touching story, human, but stories do not stop fists. He shoved against the wall. The impact hurt but did not make a sound. He simply picked up his bag, checked that his grandmother's lunchbox was safe, and walked away. Watched him go, confused. He had expected fear. He had expected begging. Instead, the human just left like nothing happened. What is wrong with him? Asked. Was quiet for a moment, then he spoke in his cold, empty voice. I tried to read his mind just now. And there is something wrong with humans. On the surface he was calm, like still water, but underneath, shivered. Underneath there is something very old and very dark, like a sleeping monster. Snorted, you are being dramatic. He is just a scared little human. Perhaps, said, but I will not touch his mind again. I do not want to wake what sleeps there. The others laughed and forgot his warning. That night sat in his room and cleaned his grandmother's lunchbox. His hands were steady. His breathing was slow. Pip watched him nervously. Are you okay? I am fine. You do not look fine. You look like you are waiting for something. Closed the lunchbox and held it gently. I am, he said. I am waiting for them to give me permission. Permission for what? Did not answer. He simply turned off the light and went to sleep, the lunchbox held close to his heart like a weapon waiting to be drawn. The day started like any other. Woke up early, cooked his lunch, packed his grandmother's lunchbox, and walked to class. The morning lectures were boring but useful. He took notes carefully. He answered questions when called upon. He was a model student in every way. His last class before lunch was Advanced Combat Theory. The room was large, with seats rising up like a theater. At the front, the instructor was a veteran named Commander. She had fought in 3 wars and had the scars to prove it. She did not tolerate nonsense. Sat in the back row near the exit. He placed his grandmother's lunchbox on his desk. After this class, he had a free period. He planned to eat in the small garden behind Building 7, where it was quiet and he could remember his grandmother in peace. The lecture began. Commander was explaining the weaknesses of different species in close combat. She pointed at diagrams on the screen, showing where to strike, where to avoid, how to use an enemy's strength against them. Listened carefully. He already knew most of this. His grandmother had taught him something similar, though her lessons were about survival, not military tactics. 20 minutes into the class, the door opened with a loud bang. The 5 pillars walked in like they owned the room. Led the way, his massive body barely fitting through the doorway. The twins followed, their 4 arms swinging at their sides. Moved with liquid grace, her claws tapping against her thighs. Drifted in last, his black eyes scanning the room. Commander stopped speaking. Her eyes narrowed. You are late. Shrugged, we had important business. Nothing is more important than my class. Sit down now. Even knew not to argue with Commander. The 5 pillars moved toward the back of the room, looking for seats. As they climbed the stairs, his eyes found. A cruel smile spread across his face. The giant alien changed direction, walking straight towards Ro. The other cadets quickly moved out of the way. No one wanted to be near whatever was about to happen. Kept his eyes on the front of the room. His hands rested flat on his desk. His grandmother's lunchbox sat beside his tablet, scratched and old and precious. Reached his row. Instead of finding an empty seat, he walked directly behind. He was so close that could smell his breath, hot and foul like rotting meat. Human whispered, "Nice lunchbox. Does it have food from your dead grandmother?" Did not respond. "I asked you a question, pet." Still nothing. Commander had resumed her lecture, but she kept glancing toward the back of the room. She sensed trouble, but as long as nothing happened, she could not act. Leaned even closer. "You know what I think? I think human food is disgusting. I think it belongs on the floor, like the humans who make it." Then he moved. His massive hand swept across the desk, striking the lunchbox with terrible force. The metal container flew through the air, spinning end over end. It hit the floor 3 rows down and burst open on impact. Rice scattered across the ground like white rain. The vegetables rolled away in different directions. The sauce, prepared with ingredients had saved for weeks to buy, spilled across the floor in a dark puddle. And the lunchbox itself, his grandmother's lunchbox, cracked along the bottom where it had struck the hard floor. The classroom went silent. Everyone turned to look. The 5 pillars were laughing. Other cadets stared with wide eyes. Commander had stopped mid-sentence, her hand still raised toward the screen. Did not move. He looked at the broken lunchbox lying in a puddle of sauce. He looked at the rice scattered like fallen snow. He looked at the last physical thing his grandmother had given him, cracked and ruined on the dirty floor. Something changed. It was not visible. There was no flash of light, no sound of thunder, but everyone in the room felt it. The air grew heavy. The temperature seemed to drop. Some cadets later said they felt a pressure in their chests, like a weight pushing down on their hearts. Gasped and grabbed his head. His face went pale. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no." Was still laughing. "Oops, clumsy me. Human food belongs on the floor anyway, do you not think? That is where garbage goes." Stood up. The movement was slow and deliberate. He rose from his seat like a machine, each motion precise and controlled. His face was completely blank. His eyes were fixed on, but they looked different now. Darker, emptier, like windows into a room with no light. "Cadet Park," Commander said sharply. "Sit down." Did not sit down. Instead, he reached up and began unbuttoning his academy jacket. His fingers moved smoothly, without hurry. 1 button, 2, 3. He removed the jacket and folded it neatly. He placed it on his desk like he was preparing for bed. The twins stopped laughing. Something about the human's movements disturbed them. Smile faded. Her claws extended reflexively. Was backing away, his hands pressed against his temples. "Stop him," he said. "Someone stop him. You do not understand what is inside his mind. You do not understand what we just woke up." Frowned. "What are you talking about?" But before could answer, spoke. His voice was soft, calm, almost gentle. "You have 10 seconds to apologize." Blinked, then he laughed louder than before. "Apologize to you. Little human, I think you hit your head when you fell out of your mother." 9 seconds. "What are you going to do? Bleed on me?" 8 seconds. Commander stepped forward. "Cadets, both of you stand down immediately. That is an order." Neither of them heard her. 7 seconds. Stopped laughing. The human's voice was getting to him. There was something wrong with it, something missing. No anger, no fear, just empty words counting down to something terrible. 6 seconds. The twins looked at each other. They had fought many opponents. They had never felt like this before, like prey. 5 seconds. His legs tensed, ready to run or fight. 4 seconds. Was on his knees now, shaking. "The monster," he kept whispering. "The monster is awake." 3 seconds. Made his choice. Fear and pride mixed together and came out as violence. He roared and swung his fist at its head, putting all his strength into a blow that could crush stone. 2 seconds. The fist flew through the air like a meteor. 1. The fist never landed. Later, when the cadets who survived that day told the story, they called it the 10 moments. 10 heartbeats, 10 breaths, 10 seconds that changed how the galaxy thought about humans forever. His fist was fast. It was strong enough to break walls. It had ended fights before they began. Many opponents had fallen to that fist without ever seeing it coming. But saw it. He did not just see it. He watched it come toward him like it was moving through water. His grandmother had taught him many things: how to cook, how to be patient, how to survive. But she had also taught him what her father had taught her during the war and what his father had taught him, going back generations to a time when his ancestors fought with swords and empty hands against enemies who wanted to destroy everything they loved. She had taught him how to fight, and more importantly, she had taught him when to stop pretending he could not. Moment 1. Tilted his head 3 centimeters to the left. His fist passed so close it moved his hair. The giant alien stumbled forward, confused. He had never missed before. Moment 2. Before could recover, his palm struck his throat. It was not a hard blow. It did not need to be. The human targeted the soft tissue beneath the jaw, hitting the nerve cluster that controlled breathing. His eyes went wide. His lungs stopped working. Then his knee came up into this lower abdomen, striking the secondary nerve cluster that all shared. The big alien made a sound like air escaping a balloon and collapsed to his knees, gasping and choking. The room was frozen. No one could believe what they had just seen. Moment 3. The twins charged, came from the left, from the right. Their 4 arms each reached for, ready to crush him between their armored bodies. They were confident. Their species was famous for their unbreakable skin. No weapon could pierce them. No blow could hurt them. But did not try to pierce or break. He moved. He flowed between them like smoke, like water, like something that was never quite where they grabbed. His hands found the joints between their armor plates, the soft spots around the eyes, the tender flesh beneath the arms where the plates did not connect. Moment 4. Screamed as fingers drove into his eyes. The armor was useless. The eyes were not protected. Tried to grab from behind, but the human was already moving, already striking, already gone. Moment 5. Grabbed arm, twisted his body, and used leverage instead of strength. The armored alien flew through the air and crashed into his brother. Both twins fell in a heap of limbs and screams. Then moved. Her people were the fastest in the known galaxy. She could cross a room in the time it took to blink. Her claws carried poison that could kill in minutes. In her entire life, nothing had ever been faster than her. Moment 6. She lunged at, her claws extended, her body a blur of motion. The other cadets did not even see her move. They only saw a streak of color and then nothing. But saw. His grandmother had trained him in ways that the academy could not understand. Hours of meditation, years of practice, endless drills that made his body move before his mind even gave the command. He did not need to think. His body thought for him. Moment 7. He caught her wrist. The entire room heard her gasp. No one had ever caught. No one had ever been fast enough to even try. But did not just catch her. He redirected her. He used her own speed against her. His feet moved in a pattern older than space travel, a technique from Earth called judo, created by his ancestors to defeat larger and stronger enemies. Moment 8. Hit the floor so hard the impact cracked the stone beneath her. The air rushed out of her lungs. Her vision went black, then white, then blurry. She tried to get up and found that her body would not obey. 4 of the 5 pillars were down. The fight had lasted 8 heartbeats. Only remained. The telepath stood at the back of the room, shaking like a leaf in a storm. He was the most dangerous of the group in many ways. His mind could crush thoughts, create nightmares, make enemies kill themselves from fear. Moment 9. He attacked with everything he had. He reached into his mind, ready to destroy it from inside. What he found there nearly killed him. He expected a human mind, small, simple, soft. Instead, he found an ocean of darkness. He found 10,000 years of human war. He found memories passed down through generations, blood and fire and endless struggle for survival. He found winter starvation and summer plagues and enemies at the gates and children dying in the snow. And beneath it all, he found something else. A cold, patient hunger, a willingness to do anything to survive, a capacity for violence that made his own species look like children playing games. The humans called it killing intent. It was not rage. It was not hatred. It was simply a decision, a complete and total commitment to ending another life made without emotion or hesitation. Had never felt anything like it. His people had destroyed planets, but they had never felt this. This absolute clarity of purpose, this pure, focused will to kill. Moment 10. Screamed, his eyes rolled back in his head. His body went stiff and fell backward like a cut tree. He hit the ground and did not move, his mind broken by what it had touched. Silence. Complete and total silence. Stood in the center of the room, surrounded by 5 fallen aliens. He was not breathing hard. He was not sweating. His hands hung at his sides, relaxed and still. Commander had her weapon drawn, but she had not fired. She could not. What she had just witnessed was beyond anything in her experience. In 3 wars, she had never seen anything like this. Walked past the fallen bodies without looking at them. He knelt beside his grandmother's lunchbox and carefully began picking up the pieces. His hands were gentle now, soft like they were holding something made of glass. He gathered the spilled rice grain by grain. He collected the vegetables that had rolled away. He picked up the cracked container and held it against his chest. Then he stood and faced Commander. "I apologize for the disruption," he said. His voice was calm again, normal, like nothing had happened. "I will accept any punishment you decide." Commander opened her mouth, but no words came out. Behind, the 5 pillars lay broken and bleeding. Medical alarms were already sounding as other cadets called for help. The twins were crying, was still trying to breathe, was unconscious, was in some kind of coma, his mind shut down to protect itself from what it had seen. Pip was standing on his desk, his small body trembling. Beside him, Sora had her hand over her mouth. "What?" Pip whispered. "What was that?" Sora lowered her hand. Her eyes were wide, but she was smiling. "That," she said quietly, "was a human. A real human. Now you understand why the old empires burned their records of first contact with Earth. Now you understand why they tell their children stories about us to make them behave." She looked at, standing alone with his broken lunchbox, surrounded by chaos. "That was us. That was what we are when you push us too far." The 5 pillars spent 2 weeks in the intensive care unit. The twins had nerve damage that would take months to heal, needed surgery to repair his throat, had a cracked spine and 3 broken ribs, was the worst. The doctors said his mind had experienced severe trauma. He woke up screaming every few hours, begging someone to turn off the memories. Word spread through the academy like fire through dry grass. By the end of the first day, everyone knew the story. By the end of the first week, it had reached other stations. By the end of the month, humans across the galaxy were getting strange looks from aliens who used to ignore them. The human cadet, the quiet one, the one who never spoke, he had destroyed 5 of the most powerful students in 10 heartbeats, and he had done it with his bare hands. Was confined to his room during the investigation. He did not complain. He used the time to repair his grandmother's lunchbox. He found gold paint and carefully filled the cracks, following an old Earth tradition called. The idea was simple. When something breaks, you do not hide the damage. You fill it with gold and make it more beautiful than before. His grandmother would have liked that, he thought. On the 15th day, guards came to his door. Cadet Park, the High Marshal wants to see you. High Marshal was the oldest being at the academy. Some said he was 500 years old. Some said he was older. He was small and wrinkled, with skin and eyes that seemed to look through you instead of at you. He had commanded fleets, won wars, and shaped the galaxy's military for centuries. Stood at attention in his office, expecting punishment. Instead offered him a seat. Tea, the old alien asked. Blinked, sir. Tea, a human drink, I believe. I have developed a taste for it. Poured 2 cups with hands that were steady despite his age. Please, sit. Sat, he took the cup but did not drink. Watched him for a long moment. Then he smiled, showing teeth worn down by centuries. I have watched the recording of your fight 47 times, he said. I have shown it to my best combat instructors. Do you know what they said? No, sir. They said it was impossible. A human defeating 5 elite cadets in 10 heartbeats. They said the recording must be fake. Sipped his tea. But I know it is real, because I have seen humans fight before, a long time ago when your species first came to the stars. Waited. We were afraid of you, continued. Not at first. At first we laughed. Small bodies, short lives. No claws, no armor, no natural weapons. We thought you were prey. He set down his cup. We were wrong. Sir, your species spent 10,000 years killing each other. You developed thousands of ways to end life with nothing but your hands. You learned to defeat enemies bigger and stronger and faster. You turned war into an art form, leaned forward. And when you finally reached the stars, you chose peace. You put away your weapons and smiled at us like friendly animals. We forgot what you were. We started to believe you had always been soft. He pointed at. You reminded us. In 10 heartbeats, you reminded the galaxy what humans really are. Finally spoke. I did not want to hurt them. I waited for weeks. I endured everything they did. But when they broke my grandmother's lunchbox, he stopped. It was the last thing she gave me, and they destroyed it like it was nothing. Nodded slowly. I understand more than you know. He reached into his desk and pulled out an old photograph. It showed a young alien holding hands with an older female of the same species. My mother. She died in the Third War. This picture is all I have left of her. He put the photograph away. If someone destroyed it, I would do worse than you did. Silence filled the room. The families of the 5 pillars want you expelled, said. They want you imprisoned. Some want you executed. His face did not change. I understand. I do not care what they want. Stood and walked to the window. Outside, the academy spread beneath them like a metal forest. I am promoting you to advanced combat instructor. You will teach other cadets what you know. Stared at him, sir. The galaxy has forgotten what humans are capable of. That is dangerous. Not for humans, but for everyone else. If we keep treating your species as pets and weaklings, eventually someone will push too far. Someone will start a war. And then we will all remember why the old empires feared you. He turned to face. You will teach them. You will show them human martial arts. You will demonstrate what happens when a human stops being peaceful. And maybe, just maybe, that will prevent the next war before it starts. Was quiet for a long time. Then he asked the question that had been on his mind since the fight. The telepath, he looked into my mind. What did he see? His old eyes grew sad. He saw what all humans carry inside them, the memory of survival, the weight of 10,000 years of war, the knowledge that your species clawed its way from mud and darkness, fighting every step of the way. He paused. He saw what your grandmother saw during her war, what her grandmother saw during hers, suffering passed down through blood and bone and memory. Is that what broke him? Partly, but mostly it was the other thing. What other thing? Walked back to his desk and sat down heavily. The killing intent, the decision to end a life made completely and totally without doubt or hesitation. Most species cannot do this. Our minds protect us from such thoughts, but humans, he shook his head. Humans can flip a switch inside themselves. They can become something else, something that exists only to destroy, and they can do it in a heartbeat. Looked at his hands, the same hands that had cooked his grandmother's recipes, the same hands that had broken 5 aliens. I did not want to be that thing, he said quietly. No, but you can be, and saw that. He saw that every human, even the gentlest, even the kindest, carries a monster inside them, a monster that sleeps until someone wakes it up. He picked up his tea again. Your grandmother taught you well, Cadet Park. She taught you patience and mercy and peace. But she also taught you how to wake the monster when you needed to. That is the human gift, the ability to choose. 3 months later, stood at the front of a combat class. His students were a mix of species, including some, even a few. They all watched him with careful eyes. He held up his grandmother's lunchbox, now beautiful with gold filling its cracks. This was broken, he said, and now it is stronger. That is the first lesson I will teach you. Damage can be healed, scars can be beautiful, but some things should never be broken in the first place. He set the lunchbox on his desk. Second lesson, every being has limits. When you push someone past their limit, you accept the consequences. My limit was this lunchbox. Now you will learn to find other beings' limits before you push them too far. One of them raised her hand. Sir, is it true you defeated 5 cadets in 10 heartbeats? Yes. How? Looked at her calmly. My grandmother taught me that humans are not the strongest or the fastest or the toughest, but we survive. We always survive, because we learned long ago that the most dangerous weapon is not claws or armor or speed. It is the will to never stop fighting, no matter what. He walked among the desks, his footsteps silent. I will teach you how to fight, but more importantly, I will teach you how to recognize when someone has nothing left to lose, because that is when any creature, human or not, becomes truly dangerous. After class, Sora found him in the garden behind Building 7. He was eating lunch from his gold-lined lunchbox. She sat beside him. You could have killed them. I know. Why did you not? Chewed slowly and swallowed before answering. My grandmother taught me that violence is the last language, not the only one. She also taught me that the strongest victory is letting your enemy live with their shame. He looked at the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. They will remember what happened for the rest of their lives. That is punishment enough. Sora nodded, and if they come for revenge? Smiled, it was a small smile, peaceful and sad. Then I will teach them again. Above them, the stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere out there, humans were spreading across the galaxy, still underestimated, still dismissed as young and soft. But now, on this station in this academy, everyone knew the truth. Humans were patient, humans were kind, humans chose peace whenever they could. But if you spilled their lunch, if you broke what they loved, if you pushed them past their limit, you would learn why the galaxy's oldest empires whispered about Earth with fear in their voices. Closed his lunchbox gently and watched the stars appear one by one. His grandmother would have been proud.